I'm Reinis. I'm Kevin.
I'm Steve.
I'm Shane, and this is our presentation on biodiesel, the fuel of the future. So what is biodiesel? First and foremost, biodiesel is an alternative fuel source. And now, it's an alternative fuel source because it's made from organic material. And the material that biodiesel is most commonly made from is plant oils, animal oils, which is made from animal fat, and microalgae. Now, biodiesel is primarily used in diesel engines, and it's renewable because it can be either grown or farmed without the depletion of any rare resources. Now, biodiesel is used to replace or supplement petroleum diesel in current engines. And to completely replace petroleum diesel with biodiesel would require modification of the engine, and this will be explained in more detail later. And currently biodiesel is present in blends. You can see here on this picture, you can have 5% blends, which is called B5, or you can have 20% blends, which is B20, and then 100% would be B100. And you can see here just different steps in the biodiesel process. You have the filtered cooking oil, which is then reacted, which will also be explained later, and it still includes the glycerin. And then at the end of the process, you have your 100% biodiesel. So you might be asking yourself, why biodiesel? So historically, especially in the last decade, fossil fuel prices have been volatile because we get a lot of our fossil fuels from overseas sources. As you can see on this graph to my left, you can see that oil prices were at $133 per barrel in 2008, and then they went down to $39 per barrel in the beginning of 2009. So in less than 7 months, you went from $133 to $39, which can make a huge difference when you're trying to fill up your gas tank. And another reason for biodiesel is the depletion of fossil fuels, which has been a very hot button topic in the last decade due to it being non-renewable. So biodiesel is one of those alternative fuels that can help to supplement current fossil fuel requirements. Now, as far as cleaner emissions goes, biodiesel is currently the only alternative fuel to be given the EPA's advanced fuel rating, meaning that it has significantly less and cleaner emissions than fossil fuels do. Another advantage of biodiesel is that it's made with things that we view as waste. So any kind of plant material such as like the stalk or the husk can be made into biodiesel, as well as animal fat, which isn't consumed by humans. And another way that it's used is by using old frying oil. Since it has no use and would normally just be discarded, it can actually be turned into biodiesel. And one of the biggest reasons that biodiesel is promising is that it currently exists. So it's not something that needs to be beta tested or needs to be proven to see how it will work in the long run. But biodiesel is existing in blends and has been here for years and is currently in the cars of millions of people.
Alright, so there are three main methods used to produce biodiesel, and they all undergo the same three reactions. So the first two are vegetable oils and animal fats, which are composed mostly of triglycerides. Triglycerides are fatty acid chains attached to a glyceride. So the biodiesel production goes through transesterification, which is a three-step process which includes a catalyst and an alcohol, which is usually methanol. So first, triglycerides, which in this case is a linoleic acid, will react with methanol to form your first ester. And then the diglyceride will react, which in this case is oleic acid, to form your second ester. And then the third, N-dodecaionic acid, will react with methanol to form your third ester. So these reactions take place in a distillation column. And in that distillation column, these all will react, and the three esters will come out of the bottom as bottom products. And these will mix together to form your biodiesel. So the third process is microalgae processing, which undergoes the same reactions, but it's a little different because it has to undergo 6 steps before it can actually be put into those reactions. So the first one is microalgae cultivation, which is where microalgae can be found in open ponds or treating wastewater. Then the second is the harvesting, which is often bulk harvesting, which separates the biomass from the bulk culture using centrifugation. And then the third step is drying, which is used to just increase the shelf life of the biomass. And then the cell disruption phase is to extract the metabolites needed in production, and this cell disruption can actually increase the rate the extracting agent contacts the target components. Then the second to last step is the extraction, which targets the non-polar lipids which contain the triglycerides, and these triglycerides are the fatty acids which are used to be put into the reactions with methanol to produce your 3 esters, which will then produce your biodiesel.
At this point, you might be wondering which of these methods is the best one to use to produce biodiesel. To start with, 3 kilograms of biomass produces only 1 kilogram biodiesel, which is only a 33% conversion rate. With such a low rate, you can see why some companies might not want to directly use biomass to produce biodiesel. And you can basically produce biodiesel from multiple plant sources such as soybean oil, peanut oil, and the best yields include oil palm and rapeseed oil, which are 635 and 127 gallons of oil per acre per year. And over a year's time, you can see this will generate a lot of oil with multiple acres present. The next would be animal fats, which only 3 to 8% of animal fats are actually used in biodiesel production. This is because companies can actually use animal fats for more profitable endeavors such as cosmetics or the cooking industry, and they'd rather make more money than try to save the environment. And also, animal fat biodiesel combustion has a slight issue with the esters that are extracted from the process and can cause incomplete combustion within engines. However, the best and most prominent way to produce biodiesel is through microalgae. And this can exceed a 50% conversion rate if done properly with proper nutrition. And the yields can range anywhere from 5,000 to 15,000 gallons of oil per acre per year. And once again, with multiple acres over a year's time, this will generate a lot of oil. Alright, here is just a flowchart of the microalgae process to make the biodiesel. As you can see, you always need proper nutrition. And fed with the right amount of carbon dioxide, you will grow a lot of microalgae, and that can be extracted into algal oil, which will then be converted into biodiesel. So now, you might want to know how the emissions actually affect the environment through biodiesel combustion. Well, luckily, I've got the numbers for you. A B20 biodiesel blend shows a decrease of carbon monoxide emissions by up to 13%, which is fantastic. However, the same B20 blend could potentially increase nitrogen oxide emissions by 2.4%. And these nitrogen oxide emissions could be more detrimental to the environment and human health in general. So it's a win-loss situation right here. Then from the field to the fuel tank, the entire biodiesel life cycle reduces carbon dioxide emissions by up to 78%, and this is the whole growing the microalgae, eating the carbon dioxide. It's all good. And finally, the power generated through biodiesel is unfortunately 5% less than conventional diesel. And in an industrial setting, this 5% could be the difference between actually using biodiesel and just sticking to conventional diesel.
One of the many reasons biodiesel gained popularity was due to its benefits to the environment. Approximately 57 to 86% of emissions are reduced using pure biodiesel compared to petroleum diesel, and also carbon monoxide emissions are significantly reduced. Also, creating biodiesel with microalgae absorbs approximately 1.83 kilograms of carbon dioxide per kilogram of microalgae, and this shows that not only does biodiesel have very environmentally friendly emissions, but also the production as well. In the US, approximately 33 billion gallons of diesel is demanded each year. However, only 1.7 billion gallons of biodiesel was produced in 2014, which amounts to about 5% of the demand for diesel. And this shows it's impractical to replace petroleum diesel completely with biodiesel at this time, because there just can't be produced enough. Since microalgae is a much higher conversion rate than animal fats and vegetable oils, it's tend to be used a lot more in the production of biodiesel. And also, biodiesel costs about 50 cents more per gallon more than petroleum diesel, and this makes it a lot less attractive to the industry and to consumers. One of the many problems with biodiesel merging into the industry is the effect it has on the engine. Some auto companies actually don't even approve biodiesel with more than 5%. And Biodiesel does help to clean the residue off the engines, however, in too high concentrations, this will cause all the residue to be removed too quickly, which will result in the engine being clogged. Also, biodiesel gels at higher temperatures than petroleum diesel, which can result in complications in the engine. Biodiesel also reacts very aggressively with rubbers and plastics, and this shows that biodiesel must be handled very cautiously in industry. And also, due to the biodiesel reacting aggressively with rubbers and plastics, it can possibly cause corrosion in the pipes, resulting in engine failure. Although biodiesel would be a great substitute to petroleum diesel, it is impractical to completely replace diesel with biodiesel. However, it can be mixed with concentrations of 5% or 20%. Unfortunately, the limited production of biodiesel makes it very impractical to use purely in industry. Also, biodiesel requires modifications to use due to its reactivity with rubbers and plastics. Since there's many complications, using pure biodiesel, the best solution is to use it in concentrations of 5% or 20% with diesel to improve its environmental efficiency.